Don't actually, we'll say Wakanda forever. Don't actually go to Wakanda. Don't actually go there. We're just saying it because it's like we want to virtue signal how much we love black people. But in practice, we wouldn't actually send our failed asylum seekers there. No! Oh, that crap hole. That underdeveloped, impoverished third world nation. They went from saying Wakanda forever to Wakanda for never. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Free Thinker Cast. I am your host Hannah, and today Keir Starmer has conceded that we do need to do more than just dismantle the people smuggling gangs. We need to deport the illegals arriving here, but just so long as it's not to Rwanda. It's okay, just not Rwanda. We're going to do Albania instead. You know, that more developed, that more civilized, that more European nation. Yeah, that's the angle we're taking today because I see it and I want to help you see where I'm coming from. This is the Free Thinker Cast. I want to let you know what I'm thinking. Is that okay with you? So, do you remember the Rwanda plan? The Rwanda plan, it was announced and devised by Priti Patel in 2022, the then Home Secretary in the Tory government. It looked like basically relocating or deporting the illegals arriving here in the UK to Rwanda. And not just deportation, it's formally known as an economic and development partnership. So they would be integrated into the Rwandan economy. Their asylum application would be processed in that nation. And if they're successful, they could take up residence in Rwanda. They get a job in Rwanda. It is about integration, which, by the way, is the most compassionate immigration policy I have ever seen in my life. I have never seen any country in my life that says we're going to deport you and we're going to ensure that you're being housed in the country you're being deported and get a job and have your application process, your asylum application process there and get a job there and start a family there. If Americans caught wind of this, they would bully us so bad because the way that Americans treat their illegals, yeet. Well, under Trump anyways, yeet. You cross the border, yeet. I don't even care that you gave birth to someone once you cross the border. We're yeeting you back to Mexico. No mercy. I am praying for the day that Americans don't find out how overly compassionate the Rwanda plan was. And even then, the spineless Brits called this inhumane. This plan was inhumane. It was subjected to immense backlash at the time it was announced. Keir Starmer even insisting it would never, and I repeat, this is a key word, never be an effective deterrent. Ever. It's not going to deter people. Knowing that you would be arrested and sent back to your country if you got here and spent thousands of pounds on a trafficker to get you here would never be an effective deterrent. Well, how the turntables! After the labels of it's unethical, it's immoral, it will never be an effective deterrent, Keir Starmer has gone to Albania to organise or to pitch to the Albanian Prime Minister why we should send our, quote, failed asylum seekers. Failed asylum seekers. Keir Starmer has gone to Albania to pitch why they should accept our failed asylum seekers. That's the words he used, failed asylum seekers. It's also really important to note that at the time of the Rwanda plan, as soon as Labour got into government, they never said, their main rebuttal was never we should deport them to a different country. Their main rebuttal was we need to dismantle the people smuggling gangs. We need to place an emphasis on border control, border force, work with MI9, MI5, MI high, whatever. We need to work with the authorities to crack down on dismantling the people smuggling gangs. The emphasis was never, ever for the Labour Party, deportation. But you know what? They had some luck. So, the BBC reported in November last year, a man suspected of being a significant supplier of small boats equipment to people smugglers has been arrested in Amsterdam following a joint operation by the UK's National Crime Agency and Dutch and Belgian police. The man is alleged to have supplied engines and boats to smugglers in northern France, according to the NCA. The Turkish national, 44, was arrested at Schiphol Airport on Wednesday and will be extradited to Belgium to face charges charges of human smuggling. The NCA Director General for Operations, Rob Jones, called the arrest a milestone in one of the agency's most significant investigations into organised immigration crime. Criminal gangs have been getting away with this for far too long, said Keir Starmer. In fact, let's take a snippet to his press release after this arrest was made.
It is good news that today a man suspected of being a significant supplier of small boat equipment has been arrested. Criminal gangs have been getting away with this for far too long. I want to thank the UK National Crime Agency, along with their Dutch and Belgian counterparts, for all their hard work and their crucial role in this investigation. It's exactly what we want to see. And it shows that our approach of working with international partners to smash the people smuggling gangs is bearing fruit.
See, his approach. So his approach and his emphasis has always been tougher border controls. We're not deporting anyone. We're just going to dismantle the people smuggling gangs. Except now they're realizing this one Turkish national that they arrested last year was not cutting down on the influx across the English Channel. Over 12,000 people have crossed this year alone. It's looking very similar to the numbers of last year at this time anyways, this quarter/second quarter. It's looking bleak, if I'm going to be honest, and they know this. Now, I'm saying like this one Turkish national from last year, obviously other arrests have been made. It's just simply not effective enough. It's also important to note that this was like headline news. This was not just some column in the corner of The Guardian somewhere. This was like press release, bring in the journalists, bring in the cavalry, bring in the wow. We found one Turkish national and we arrested him. This was major for the Labour Party. So now they're switching it up, going to Albania, talking about deportation. It's a very exciting time. They're realising finally that stronger border controls and dismantling the people smuggling gangs is not enough. They need to try something different. Or shall I say, borrowed. Now Labour, in true Tory fashion, have realised they need to stop believing all of the claims of these undocumented migrants crossing the borders illegally. The paper shredder argument isn't cutting it anymore. Oh, my passport fell in the shredder. Oh. Or, my favourite, my rabies-infected dog ate all of my paperwork. Also, I need a 4-star hotel in central London. What you got? You have to bring your best X Factor sob story to the UK Labour government because they're not taking anything for an answer anymore. No, they're up in the ante. The Daily Mail reported Keir Starmer faced humiliation over his latest attempt at a migrant crackdown yesterday. In a surprise move, the Prime Minister used a trip to Albania to unveil plans to create Rwanda-style centres abroad to house failed asylum seekers from the UK. Can you believe that? Failed asylum seekers? You're still not calling them illegal immigrants. It's remarkable. But the initiative imploded on live TV just an hour later when his host, Albanian PM Edi Rama, ruled out ever taking part in the scheme. Let's take a listen to their exchange.
You got it right. I have been very clear since day one when we started this process with Italy that this was a one-off with Italy because of our very special relation by several countries, if we were open to it. And we said no, because we are loyal to the marriage with Italy, and the rest is just love.
Loyal to Italy. In his words, loyal to Italy. His mic cut off for a lot of his announcement, his speech, but I think it sounded like he was saying because the traffic was in Italy, the major traffic is coming through Italy, like southern Italy. He wanted to place his focus there. But yeah, so Eastern Europe is a better choice. But why Albania and not Rwanda? So the UNHCR has previously praised Rwanda for how well it has hosted its refugees, its hospitality for refugees from various different nationalities, various different backgrounds for over like 30 years, 35 years or so. And in particular from nations like Burundi and the Democratic of Congo. In 2016, the UNHCR's Assistant High Commissioner for Protection, Dr. Volker Turk, expressed gratitude to the Rwandan government and its people for their commitment to refugee welfare and integration. This was prior to 2022. Rwanda was getting hyped up by the UNHCR, by all these other nations for their hospitality for refugees. The press was positive. It really was. Rwanda's efforts looked like integrating people into healthcare, into the economy, into employment. So we have things like the Mahama refugee camp. This is in Rwanda, and it has evolved into this model settlement camp. It has these semi-permanent structures. It's got schools, it's got healthcare centers, markets. This is really dignified living for refugees. They have demonstrated this. It's not like Priti Patel plucked it out of the air. Yeah, East Africa, as far as we can from England. No, this had thought. And this is why I got flack for saying I like Priti Patel. I like her. She gave it some thought. What the heck is Albania? What is Albania? What's Albania's track record? Have they got recognition from the UNHCR? I know they have hosted refugees in the past, but Albania's PM right now is no. Immediately no. Rwanda is open, is willing, has demonstrated dignified living conditions for refugees. And they said this was cruel and inhumane. Failed asylum seekers is just absolutely, it's like saying failed asylum seekers instead of finally admitting that these people are illegal immigrants is making you live in Delulu. This is when like Delulu catches up to reality, because you call them asylum seekers in the first place. Many of them are not asylum seekers. They're just illegal immigrants taking advantage of weak UK border protections. They arrive in the UK, you process their application, they're denied refugee status, meaning you're not a refugee, just an illegal now, right? Your party's dropping in the polls, you're losing popularity, so you have to look like you're tougher on immigration because people are now looking more to reform UK and rather maybe like closer to the right wing in Britain. So you feel like, okay, we have to do something else, be tougher. So you take your entire team to Albania, the UK press, you take your security, your plane, your whatever, you pitch to the Albanian Prime Minister why they should accept your failed asylum seekers, and he immediately says no. You're still so virtuous and compassionate, you're still not calling them illegals. And now you're in Albania, thinking that the Albanian PM is your level of Delulu. No, he's not going to accept failed asylum seekers. He's not going to take on illegal immigrants who are taking advantage of weak UK border protections, who are in actuality many economic migrants who want better financial circumstances for themselves in Britain. The Albanian Prime Minister knows it, so Keir Starmer, you can be Delulu all you want, but reality is catching up to you. You went all the way to Albania for this brutal reality check. They're not failed asylum seekers. Call them what they are. They're illegal immigrants. And Albania knows it. That's why they declined almost immediately. Immediately no. I've seen what I needed to see. And not only that, there's already a deal made just with a different country, Rwanda. There's a £270 million deal made with the Rwanda government. They still have the pennies. They've collected all of that UK taxpayer money. They still have our coins. They are under no contractual obligation to return £270 million for the Rwanda Economic and Development Partnership that has not yet even seen one illegal cent to Rwanda. Do you know how much the UK taxpayer, do you know how many eggs the UK taxpayer could buy with £270 million during a cost of living crisis? How many cartons of milk or pints of milk and eggs? Rwanda still has those pennies. And by the way, the narrative on Africa before 2022 was, woohoo, the motherland, and Colin Kaepernick is going back to Africa to rediscover his roots, and if you listen to enough Dr. Umar Johnson, you would think like Africa is just littered with kings and queens and gold and copper and iron. So the narrative on Africa was this sanctuary. Wakanda forever. Until it became politically inconvenient to celebrate blackness. They went from saying Wakanda forever to Wakanda for never. We will never send our failed asylum seekers to Wakanda. It's no longer politically trendy or convenient to celebrate blackness. So, yeah. Wakanda for never. Sorry. Don't actually go to Wakanda. I don't actually think it's a coincidence that Wakanda sounds like Rwanda. I say Rwanda. A lot of people pronounce it as Rwanda. Rwanda. It's not a coincidence. We'll say Wakanda forever. Don't actually go to Wakanda. Don't actually go there. We're just saying it because it's like we want to virtue signal how much we love black people. But in practice, we wouldn't actually send our failed asylum seekers there. No! Oh, that crap hole. That underdeveloped, impoverished third world nation. I'm telling you, black people, they're using us. Wakey, wakey. Now, I would like to address some common complaints and criticisms regarding Rwanda, the safety of the nation, the economy and things. Because I think the coverage at the time was unfair. I think it was insulting to Rwandan people. Our nation's rhetoric insulted Rwandan people. I think Trevor Noah, the South African comedian, he did a bit on this. He was like, why are you saying, like, Britain, don't be rude. And it's true. They were insulted by the nation. And I think we need to contrast Rwanda to Britain, Rwanda and Britain with one another. So in order to understand just how bad is Rwanda, / how good, / where are we sending these people? Is it the jungle, like many liberals think that we're sending illegals to when we say Rwanda plan? Because their racism like kind of peeks through? Or is it actually a better place than you might expect? Critics, including the Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International, have raised concerns about the suppression of dissidents and arbitrary detention. Right, suppression of dissidents in Rwanda. Does that happen in Britain? One name, Alison Pearson. You remember that Telegraph journalist who was investigated by the Essex police because of an X post a year prior that offended somebody a year later, and so 2 constables arrived at her doorstep on Remembrance Sunday. She wasn't even informed of what post she made that was offensive, but she was placed under investigation. Now they dropped it eventually because she's a Telegraph journalist. There's like 27 million plus people that read the Telegraph. She had the privilege of a platform. She had a voice. Millions of other people in the UK, countless others rather, do not have that same privilege when they post something on X and then police arrive at their door. You want to talk about suppression of dissidents? She's a journalist, and you're there intimidating her with non-crime, the threat of a non-crime hate incident. Secondly, arbitrary detention. I think it's quite arbitrary. I think Nicola Wilcox was quite arbitrarily detained. Remember the lady that was arrested for handing over ice lollies to police officers? And she was accused of disrupting a Romanian vigil. A Romanian vigil that looked like buses being torched, bricks being thrown. Chaos ensuing. She handed over some ice lollies to these police officers, and before she knew it, she was being detained and she spent a night in a police cell. I still remember what you did to her, and I'm never going to drop it. I think I've covered her. I have definitely mentioned her in at least 3 episodes now. We're not dropping it. I have not forgotten. British people will never forget the mistreatment and the unfair treatment of certain people in Britain that don't look like they are a member of a minority group. Another complaint I've heard is that in 2018, Rwandan police shot and killed at least 12 Congolese refugees protesting food carts. Oh my gosh, Rwanda is so corrupt. They've killed some of their own citizens. How many of you took that jab? And how many of you took that jab and have the privilege to say that you're still alive right now watching this video? Take the jab or lose your job. Take the jab, lose your mortgage. Take the jab or lose your pension. Millions of people mysteriously died after taking that vaccine that the NHS forced us to get. Thank the Lord I didn't take that dumb vaccine. Thank the Lord. I remember reading a paper that came to my house. And I was like, anyone with comprehensive skills can see this is stupid. I read a letter from the NHS. I was like, why do you know where I live? You need to take this jab because one of the main reasons is you need to protect other people who have also taken the jab. I'm like, wait, so it doesn't work then? Do you think I'm stupid? You need I need to take it because somebody else who's already taken it might catch it if I don't take it. So it doesn't work. The Rwanda government is corrupt, but also so is the United Kingdom. So is our government. And I honestly can't stand this sanctimonious Western savior complex that we have. We're better than all these other developing nations like Rwanda because we're in the West and we're developed and we're so above corruption and yeah, we've got a higher GDP, so we're better than you. An undisclosed and unreported number of people have died after taking that vaccine. These nurses on the front lines became guinea pigs for Moderna and Pfizer. Because they were the ones who were told, you can't even turn up, you're in healthcare, you need to take this, without a shadow of a doubt. Some of them didn't turn up to work that next week. Or the week after. Or the week after that. Rest in peace. What I'm saying is, Rwanda has its flaws, but so does Britain. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror that resides in the house that you can barely afford because of the cost of living crisis, because of the housing crisis, and really ask yourself this. If British people can barely afford to live in corrupt Britain, can we send illegal immigrants to corrupt Rwanda instead? Rwanda had no bad press before 2022. It was only once Liberals decided that we no longer convenience their policy or their immigration agenda that they dropped us so fast. Overnight, we heard the worst things about the corruption, the shootings, the murder. Your Wakanda Forever is showing. Now, guys, there's a really exciting conference coming up in the Copper Box Arena held by Christian Revival Church in East London between the 6th and 8th of June. You can get your tickets in the link in the description below. I don't get a penny from you being there. This video is not sponsored. I just know that a lot of the political decline and disunity observed in the United Kingdom comes as a consequence of deviating drastically from the Bible. We need God. We need God. Looking at the society, looking at this godless secular world. Go get your tickets now. It's in like a few days. Genuinely, it's in like under 2 weeks. If you need an encounter with God, you need a relationship with him, these pastors really are led and planted in the word of God. So thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Free Thinker Cast. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. I will see you next time. Keep those post notifications on. I'm still determining the upload schedule. I'm juggling a few things at the same time right now, but I will see you soon.